a black, impoverished, homosexual. Oh, I thought I hit the jackpot. Oh, great.
Said, everyone knew I was a lesbian but me.
Hollywood's golden age was full of secrets, but some of its biggest black stars were hiding something even bigger. These secretly gay black stars risked everything just to be themselves. Number 1 will leave you speechless. Number 20, Lorenzo Tucker. Lorenzo Tucker was Hollywood's first black heartthrob, often called the Black Valentino. But behind the charm, he had a secret life. His off-screen relationships weren't just shocking for their time, they would have ended his career in an instant. Tucker starred in Oscar Michaud's silent films and was adored by fans, but his private life remained a mystery. While he publicly played a role of a ladies' man, many believed he was deeply involved in Harlem's underground LGBTQ+ scene. Rumors swirled about his friendships with other actors, particularly in the artsy circles of the Harlem Renaissance. Back then, Harlem was a hidden safe haven for black creatives, including gay and bisexual artists. It was where James Baldwin, Langston Hughes, and other legendary figures found refuge. Although Tucker never openly admitted to his sexuality, Hollywood insiders whispered about his deep connections with male companions who were part of this secretive world. In a rare interview, a fellow actor once hinted, Lorenzo was loved by many, but he loved in secret. While he never reached mainstream Hollywood success, his legacy as a trailblazer in black cinema remains. But his personal life? Well, that remains one of Hollywood's best-kept secrets. Lorenzo Tucker was so charming that white Hollywood producers reportedly asked him to wear darker makeup so he wouldn't be too attractive to white female audiences. Number 19, Napoleon Whiting. You may not know his name, but you've definitely seen his face. Napoleon Whiting played Hollywood's go-to butler, always standing in the background. But when the camera stopped rolling, his personal life was something the industry never wanted you to talk about. Whiting was a veteran actor, appearing in Gone with the Wind and The Big Valley. While he played dignified servants on screen, Hollywood refused to let him be more than a stereotype. Off-screen, however, his life was full of mystery. Hollywood's power structure made it dangerous for black actors to be openly gay, but Whiting was part of a hidden LGBTQ+ network, where actors, directors, and producers could live their truth away from the public eye. Many reports suggest that he had long-term relationships with men in the industry, including well-connected Hollywood insiders. These weren't just casual flings. Some were believed to be serious romances kept under strict secrecy. One particular shocking rumor involved a well-known white director who had a friendship with Whiting that raised eyebrows. It was said that they were often seen together at private gatherings, but never in public. Whiting never spoke about his personal life, and Hollywood erased much of his legacy. But those who knew him say that he was far more than just a background actor. He was a man with a secret story the world never got to hear. Napoleon Whiting worked in Hollywood for over 40 years, but despite being in some of the biggest films, he never got a starring role. Number 18, Lee Whipper. Lee Whipper made history as the first black member of the Actors Equity Association, breaking barriers in theater and film. But while he fought for inclusion on stage, he had to keep part of his life completely hidden. Known for his roles in The Oxbow Incident and Of Mice and Men, Whipper was respected in the industry. However, many of his colleagues suspected that he was part of the underground LGBTQ+ community that thrived in artistic circles. Unlike many black actors of his time, Whipper had some level of power. His reputation in Broadway and film gave him access to elite spaces, but that also meant that he had to be extra careful. He was rumored to have had deep friendships with younger male actors, often mentoring them behind closed doors. While many assumed these were just professional relationships, insiders suggest there was more to the story. One fellow actor once said, Lee had a charm that worked on everyone, men and women alike. Yet he never married, and Hollywood kept his personal life in the shadows. Even though Whipper's contributions to black cinema are undeniable, his personal life remains an enigma, one of the many untold stories of old Hollywood. Lee Whipper was one of the few black actors allowed to work consistently in both theater and Hollywood, despite heavy racial discrimination. Number 17, Frederick O'Neill. Frederick O'Neill was a force to be reckoned with. He co-founded the Negro Actors Guild, fought for black performers' rights, and became a legend in theater. But his personal life? Well, that's where the mystery deepens. O'Neill spent much of his career advocating for equality, but he never spoke about his relationships. He was known for his sharp wit and charisma, yet he never had a public romance, something highly unusual for a man of his status. Those close to him say that he was deeply private, especially about his love life. Some suggest that he had romantic ties with other men in the arts, but in the 1930s and 1940s, that was something no black man could risk being open about. One insider described O'Neill as a man who knew the industry's secrets and had a few of his own. This has led many to believe that he carefully concealed his true self to protect his career and activism. O'Neill eventually became the first black president of the Actors' Equity, making history. But Hollywood has erased much of his personal life, leaving us to wonder, who was Frederick O'Neill when the cameras weren't rolling? Frederick O'Neill helped create major labor protections for black actors, but Hollywood still refused to give him major leading roles. Number 16, Juano Hernandez. Juano Hernandez was a trailblazer, one of the first black actors to land serious roles in Hollywood without playing a stereotype. But while he broke barriers on screen, his personal life was carefully kept out of the public eye. Hernandez starred in Intruder in the Dust, earning widespread acclaim. Unlike many black actors of his time, he was respected for his craft rather than forced into servile roles. But one thing always remains a mystery: his personal life. He never married, rarely spoke about relationships, and was always seen in the company of male colleagues rather than potential love interests. Some insiders believe Hernandez had deep romantic connections with men in Hollywood's artistic circles. One fellow actor reportedly said, "Juano had a dignity about him, but he never let anyone too close." That fueled speculation that he was protecting more than just his privacy. He was protecting his ability to keep working. Hernandez's career outlasted many of his peers, but he never addressed the whispers about his sexuality. Was he a man who simply valued privacy, or was he living in the shadows like so many others in Hollywood? Juano Hernandez was one of the first black actors to earn leading roles in Hollywood, something almost unheard of in the 1940s. Number 15, James Edwards. James Edwards had everything: a powerful screen presence, a groundbreaking career, and a reputation as a serious actor. But one thing he didn't have: the freedom to be himself. Best known for his role in The Manchurian Candidate, Edwards was one of the few black actors who didn't accept stereotypical roles. He was handsome, intelligent, and intense, making him a natural leading man. But in Hollywood, that came with risks. Whispers about his relationships with male actors followed him throughout his career. He was seen at private gatherings, often in the company of other men rumored to be closeted. But in an industry where being openly gay could end a career, he remained silent. Some believe that Edwards lost out on bigger roles because of an industry speculation about his personal life. A film historian once noted, "He had the talent to be a major star, but Hollywood, it had other ideas." His career slowed down over time, and unlike his peers, he never settled down with a public partner. Was that his choice? Or was he protecting himself from the harsh reality of Hollywood's double standards? James Edwards was supposed to have a much bigger career, but Hollywood rumors about his sexuality may have kept him from becoming a true leading man. Number 14, Noble Johnson. Noble Johnson wasn't just an actor, he was a Hollywood powerhouse in the silent film era. He built his own production company, helped black actors get work, and fought against racist stereotypes. But there was one battle he never publicly fought: his personal identity. Johnson was known for his commanding presence in films like The Ten Commandments and King Kong. Yet, unlike many actors of his time, he never had a public romance or marriage, leading to endless speculation. Hollywood insiders whispered that Johnson had romantic relationships with men in secret. His close friendships with certain male co-stars and film executives fueled rumors that he was part of Hollywood's underground LGBTQ+ elite. One film historian once said, "Noble Johnson was a visionary, but his personal life remains one of Hollywood's best-kept secrets." Unlike many actors, Johnson had financial power, which may have helped him keep certain aspects of his life hidden. While we may never know the full truth, Johnson's contributions to black cinema are undeniable. But was he also hiding a personal story that Hollywood wasn't ready for? Noble Johnson founded the first black-owned film production company, creating movies that featured black actors in strong, heroic roles, something unheard of in early Hollywood. Number 13, Paul Winfield. Paul Winfield's voice was legendary, his acting unforgettable. But there was one thing Hollywood never wanted to talk about: his love life. Winfield became a household name with films like Sounder and Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. He was one of the few black actors who gained mainstream respect without being forced into stereotypes. But behind the scenes, he was hiding something else. For years, Winfield lived quietly, carefully protecting his relationships. It wasn't until much later in life that he confirmed he was gay, something he never could have done during his early career. Rumors swirled for decades about his deep friendships with male actors, and insiders claimed that he had a long-term partner before finally coming out publicly. One journalist once wrote, "Winfield was always dignified, always careful, but Hollywood knew." He eventually became a role model for LGBTQ+ actors, but the pain of hiding his truth for so long was something he rarely spoke about. His career soared, but at what cost? Paul Winfield was nominated for an Oscar for his role in Sounder, 1972, making him one of the few black actors to receive that honor at the time. Number 12, Brock Peters. Brock Peters was the kind of actor who commanded attention the moment he stepped on screen. But what audiences didn't know? His personal life was full of whispers and secrets. Peters is best known for playing Tom Robinson in To Kill a Mockingbird, a role that made him a Hollywood icon. He later starred in Star Trek and countless other films. But when it came to his private life, he stayed incredibly reserved. Despite his fame, Peters never married, never had public relationships, and was always seen in the company of male artists. Some believe this was because he was part of Hollywood's hidden LGBTQ+ community. One Hollywood insider once said, "Brock was a man of few words, unless you were part of his inner circle." That only fueled speculation that he kept his love life a closely guarded secret. While Peters never confirmed anything about his sexuality, the lack of any public relationships over decades has left many wondering, was he forced to hide, or was he simply a man of mystery? Brock Peters was so respected in Hollywood that he was asked to deliver the eulogy at Gregory Peck's funeral, a rare honor in the industry. Number 11, Avon Long. Avon Long lit up the stage he walked on. His charisma was undeniable, and his voice could bring an audience to its feet. But there was one thing he never wanted the world to know. Long made a name for himself in both Broadway and Hollywood, starring in Porgy and Bess and Roots. But while he was in the spotlight on stage, he was invisible when it came to his personal relationships. Hollywood was buzzing with rumors that Long had relationships with male actors and musicians in secret. Insiders from the Harlem Renaissance scene hinted that he was deeply involved in New York's hidden LGBTQ+ arts community. One actor who worked with Long once said, "Avon had a magnetic energy. People were drawn to him, but he never let them get too close." That only made people more curious. Although he never publicly spoke about his sexuality, Long's legacy as a performer and activist remains as powerful as his voice. But did he spend his entire career hiding his true self? Avon Long played Sport and Life in Porgy and Bess, a role so iconic that even decades later, people still consider his version one of the best. Number 10, Billy Daniels. Billy Daniels was the definition of smooth, stylish, and effortlessly cool. He had a voice that made women swoon and a stage presence that made him unforgettable. But his biggest secret? His offstage love life was nothing like his public image. Best known for his hit, That Old Black Magic, Daniels was one of the first black performers to headline in Las Vegas. He had the talent, the looks, and the charm. But despite being surrounded by female admirers, he never seemed interested. Hollywood insiders whispered that Daniels had a long-term relationship with a male dancer, something that was strictly off-limits at the time. Some even claimed that he had affairs with famous actors who were also secretly part of the LGBTQ+ community. A former Vegas showgirl once said Billy was magnetic, but you could tell his heart was somewhere else. Those closest to him knew that he was living a double life, forced to keep his real love hidden. Despite the rumors, Daniels never addressed his sexuality publicly. He remained a superstar, dazzling audiences while keeping the truth locked away. Was he protecting his career? Or was Hollywood simply not ready for the real Billy Daniels? Billy Daniels was one of the first black performers to have his own network TV show, making history in entertainment. Number 9. Raymond St. Jacques. Raymond St. Jacques wasn't just an actor, he was a revolutionary. He refused to play stereotypes, fought for better roles, and demanded respect in Hollywood. But behind his strong, confident persona, he had a secret that Hollywood never wanted to acknowledge. St. Jacques was best known for his roles in Cotton Comes to Harlem and The Green Berets. He was one of the first black actors to play strong, masculine, non-submissive roles in Hollywood. But while he broke barriers on screen, his public life was far more complicated. Insiders claim that St. Jacques had multiple relationships with men, including some well-known Hollywood figures. He was known to frequent elite LGBTQ+ circles, where he could be himself away from the public eye. One producer once said, Raymond was fearless on screen. Off screen, he had to be careful. Being openly gay in Hollywood could mean losing your entire career, especially for a black man. Even though St. Jacques never confirmed the rumors, he lived his life on his own terms. His legacy as a Hollywood trailblazer is set in stone. But was he also fighting another battle behind closed doors? Raymond St. Jacques was the first black actor to have a regular role on a major Western TV series, Rawhide. Number 8. Canada Lee. Canada Lee was more than an actor. He was an activist, a rebel, and a man who refused to be silenced. But while he fought racism in Hollywood, he may have also been hiding another personal battle. Lee starred in Lifeboat and Cry, the Beloved Country, becoming one of the few black actors to get meaningful roles in the 1940s. He was a loud voice against racial discrimination, which made him a target in Hollywood. While Lee's career was already under pressure due to his activism, rumors about his relationships with men only made things more complicated. Insiders claim that he had deep connections with writers, actors, and political figures who were part of the underground LGBTQ+ community. One director who worked with him once said, Canada wasn't afraid of much, but he kept his private life off limits. In the 1950s, being both black and rumored to be gay was a dangerous combination. Tragically, Lee was blacklisted during the Red Scare, accused of being a communist. He died at just 45, never having the chance to fully tell his story. Was Hollywood scared of his activism, or was there more to the story? Canada Lee was originally cast in The Emperor Jones, but he was replaced by Paul Robeson, another black actor with rumored LGBTQ+ connections. Number 7. Johnny Mathis. Johnny Mathis had one of the smoothest voices in music history. His love songs made people fall in love, but behind the romantic lyrics, he was living a life Hollywood didn't want the world to know about. Mathis was deeply connected to Hollywood, rubbing shoulders with some of the biggest stars in the Golden Age. But for years, he kept his relationships completely private. It wasn't until later in life that Mathis finally confirmed what many suspected. He was gay. In a rare interview, he admitted, being gay is just a way of life for some people. But back in the 1950s and 1960s, that kind of honesty could have ended his career. Rumors swirled that Mathis had romantic ties with several Hollywood actors, though he never named names. One music insider once said, "Johnny was a heartthrob for women, but the real story was much more complicated." Even after coming out, Mathis remained private about his personal life. He broke barriers in music, but did Hollywood force him to keep his love life hidden? Johnny Mathis was an Olympic-level athlete before choosing music, nearly making the U.S. Olympic team for high jumping. Number 6. Percy Rodriguez. Percy Rodriguez was the man with a voice that could command a room. Whether in Star Trek, The Heart is a Lonely Hunter, or his legendary movie trailers, he was the definition of presence. But behind the powerful performances, a secret Hollywood never acknowledged. Rodriguez was respected in the industry, often cast in roles that required dignity, intelligence, and quiet strength, a rarity for black actors at the time. But despite his success, he never spoke about his personal relationships. Whispers in Hollywood suggested that Rodriguez had a private life that didn't match his tough, no-nonsense screen persona. He was reportedly close to several male actors and filmmakers, leading to speculation about his sexuality. One colleague once said, "Percy had this air of mystery. He was a man of few words, but he saw everything." That included the way Hollywood treated LGBTQ+ actors, especially black ones. Rodriguez never addressed the rumors, and Hollywood never openly questioned him. But given the industry's history of covering up gay relationships, was he another star forced to stay silent? Percy Rodriguez was the first black actor to play a Starfleet commander in Star Trek, breaking racial barriers in science fiction. Number 5. Woody Strode. Woody Strode was a real-life warrior, a former football player, a World War II veteran, and an actor who exuded pure masculinity. But some believe his toughest battle was hiding his true self. Strode made history in Sporadicus and The Professionals, often playing roles that showcased his strength, power, and physicality. But Hollywood was a place of illusions, and some claim that his public image was carefully managed. Rumors swirled that Strode had romantic relationships with men before his Hollywood career took off. Some insiders say he was part of a secret group of actors who had to keep their true identities hidden. A fellow actor once described him as a man who never backed down from a fight, except the one Hollywood wouldn't let him win. His close friendships with powerful Hollywood men only fueled speculation. Strode eventually married, which some believed was a Hollywood strategy to deflect rumors. But was it really love, or was it just another way to keep the industry from asking questions? Woody Strode was one of the first black players in the NFL, breaking barriers in sports before he did the same in Hollywood. Number 4. Cab Calloway. Cab Calloway was larger than life, a music legend, an actor, and a showman who defined an era. But while audiences saw his wild performances, they had no idea about the rumors swirling behind the scenes. Calloway became famous for hits like Minnie the Moocher, performing in Hollywood films and leading one of the most successful jazz bands in history. But his personal life was full of whispers and contradictions. Hollywood insiders and music historians claim that Calloway had relationships with both men and women, something completely unheard of for a star of his time. He was known for his flamboyant energy, which only fueled speculation about his sexuality. One bandmate once said, "Cab had an electric charm. He could make anyone feel special, man or woman." Some believe he used that charm to hide his real relationships from the press. Calloway never openly discussed his private life, and Hollywood never asked. But as time passed, more stories emerged about his secret affairs. Was he bisexual? Or was he just a man who refused to be put in a box? Cab Calloway mentored a young Quincy Jones, helping shape the future of jazz and pop music. Number 3. James Baldwin. James Baldwin wasn't just a writer, he was Hollywood's unspoken conscience. While he never made a name as an actor, he was deeply connected to the industry's biggest stars, and he knew all their secrets. Baldwin's movies like Giovanni's Room explored LGBTQ+ themes at a time when no one dared to. But in real life, He was rumored to have had relationships with multiple actors and entertainers, many of whom had to stay closeted. He was close to Marlon Brando and other major stars, sparking speculation that his friendships may have gone beyond just intellectual connections. Some say Baldwin was one of the few people these closeted actors could trust. A Hollywood director once said, "James didn't just write about love, he understood the pain of hiding it." He saw the industry force people to live double lives, and he captured that struggle in his work. Though Baldwin eventually lived more openly, he carried the burden of Hollywood's hidden LGBTQ+ community for years. How many secrets did he take to his grave? James Baldwin worked on an unfinished screenplay about Malcolm X, which Hollywood later refused to produce because it was too racial. Number 2, Sammy Davis Jr. Sammy Davis Jr. was the ultimate entertainer. He could sing, dance, act, and charm an entire room. But despite his flashy lifestyle, there were always whispers that his love life was far more complicated than anyone realized. As a member of the Rat Pack, Davis was surrounded by Hollywood's elite, but he was also rumored to have had relationships with men in secret. Insiders claim that he had close connections with certain male entertainers, leading to speculation that he was bisexual. One Hollywood insider once said, "Sammy loved people. He didn't care about labels, but Hollywood did." Davis was already facing racism in the industry, and coming out, well, it would have been career suicide. To make things even more complicated, Davis was pressured into a high-profile marriage with a white actress to avoid scandal, something that only fueled more speculation. Did he marry to hide the truth? Or was it just another part of Hollywood's image control? Davis never publicly confirmed the rumors, but those who knew him best say he carried many secrets. Was he Hollywood's biggest open secret? Sammy Davis Jr. converted to Judaism in the 1960s, saying it gave him a sense of belonging in a world that often rejected him. Number 1, Sidney Poitier. Sidney Poitier was Hollywood royalty, the first black man to win an Academy Award for Best Actor, a true legend. But behind the carefully crafted public image, whispers of secret relationships never truly faded. Poitier was seen as the ultimate gentleman, known for his grace and dignity. But for decades, industry insiders claimed that he had private relationships with men, carefully hidden from the public eye. Rumors suggest that powerful Hollywood figures helped cover up certain aspects of his personal life to protect his status as a symbol of black excellence. Poitier was already breaking racial barriers. Coming out might have been too much for Hollywood to accept. One old friend once said, "Sidney was careful. He knew what was at stake." Whether these rumors are true or just Hollywood gossip, one thing is certain: Poitier had to navigate a world that didn't allow black men to be anything but perfect. Even now, his legacy remains untouchable. But was Hollywood hiding part of a story all along? Sidney Poitier turned down roles that portrayed black men in a negative light, making sure he always played dignified, heroic characters in Hollywood. Love uncovering Hollywood's biggest secrets? Watch this next video for even more shocking revelations. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a story. Drop a comment below. Who surprised you the most?